won't say it, but I will. Personals. Continued. So last night, we was vibing. We were making a wonderful show. Everybody was interacting. It was a really dope show. You know what I'm saying? Talking to one another, discussing some of the problems with our community and how it's difficult to be yourself. And wham, I got froze out and shut down again. But we're back again tonight. I don't know how many people are going to tune in. As always, I never know. But it's not about who tunes in. It's about the message and shedding light, whereas to one person can get some light and take it and share it with other people and give other people some hope and inspiration and inshallah ta'ala, guide to the truth, guidance to the truth. So let's get back to it. You won't say it, but I will. Personals. So as I was saying, man, when Renard passed away, that really was a turning point in my life as an adult. It really was. It was a turning point for me. It was a moment in time where I saw what the world was clearly for the first time. And I understood that even at a young age, I could die. So I became the worst of the worst, internally more so. More people that know me probably would say that I didn't change much externally, and they probably thought I was the same child that I had been, but it had a horrific effect on the way I looked at the world. And it really shed light on some of the things I ended up doing in the future. And some of the reasons I quote unquote acted out later on in life is because of what I saw what happened to Ernest and Renard. So I get into middle school, or I get into late middle school and high school, and I'm like, yo, I can't hang around the same guys that I used to hang around. I can't be around the same crowd I used to be around because it's detrimental to me and my survival. And if they're not willing to get with whatever is accepted or whatever is the norm, then I can't hang around those guys no more because I can't be a lame. And I know when I say it like that, it sounds a certain kind of way, but at the same time, like, if a lot of us are honest with ourselves, that's a microcosm of life in itself. That's a microcosm of social behavior. People tend to want to stay in the herd or stay within the norm because the norm is safe. So I think I was just a product of the social environment, which just really shows how basic I was as a person, how unexceptional at the time I was as a person, because I wasn't willing to do what some of my friends were willing to do, which is either die or continue to be themselves to the point of insanity, but they remain themselves to the end. So I got more respect for them than me. But high school comes along and I start doing things that would be considered norm. Start wearing Tommy Hilfiger. Start dressing the way that was socially acceptable. Start speaking with a certain slang more feverishly. Started to lose respect for human life, male and female. Lose respect for human life in the fact of, as far as a male, especially a black man, I'll kill that nigga for, any reason. Or it wasn't that drastic in ninth grade, but it was, if I have to do something to you so that you won't do it to me, I'll do it. As far as women, they were looked at, just like this shirt, as sexual objects. And I can't say it evolved that quickly with women. It took a while for it to get to the point where it was at that level with women. So I'm not going to say that, but I started to get the lessons on women because I told y'all about the lessons of the street. The lessons on women didn't come as quickly because I wasn't as active with women my age. So, those lessons came. They started coming around high school. And in high school, I started to see the principle of good guys finish last. I started to see that. Like I started to get a training course on good guys finishing last. And I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about like any guys that I knew that were normal, upstanding guys, but weren't a part of the so-called cool crowd, and they were respectful and respectable towards women and did a lot of things for that girl and would go above and beyond. They were getting played like suckers. And anybody that was a piece of shit and treated the women a certain way, treated the women like they didn't need the women, or the young ladies at the time, they were considered approachable and dateable individuals, young men. So it was like all of these things, like I said, is really heavy because psychologically and spiritually, everything that you've been taught in your psyche and everything you feel in your spirit tells you that that's opposite of what's right. But when you look out into the world, and that's the only thing you can see at that age, you don't have a lot of time for allegories. Even though you got a lot of dreams, your dreams are just dreams. But what you see in your everyday reality, what you're dealing with your parents, what you're dealing with your siblings, what you're dealing with your classmates, what you're dealing with your neighborhood is the only thing you really know for sure. So it's like you're seeing this and you're hearing one thing because you saw your great-grandmother, you saw your grandmother carry themselves as ladies. But once you get out into the world in high school, you're seeing everything that they said not to do. You see everyone doing it. You see the young ladies doing it. You also heard the way that a woman's supposed to be treated by a man, and you saw the older gentlemen treat these women that way. But in reality, that's not what you saw when you were in high school. You saw the thug nigga, you saw the hood nigga, or you saw the jock that was sleeping around with a bunch of women, young ladies. You saw them be successful. Yet you saw the young man that took a job early to support his family, signed up for the military, never cheat on his girl, get treated like shit. These are hardcore lessons that we had to learn. So that changed and molded my perception as well. That changed and molded my perception as well. And I started saying, well, man, I can't be no sucker. Once again, I'm learning on the job. This is on the job training. Try to talk to a girl, try to treat them the right way. They play you to the left. They end up choosing someone that you were taught or women claim they don't want to be with. So naturally, anybody on the other side of the fence is saying, well, man, I don't want to be alone. I don't want to end up being a lame. So I'm going to do what I got to do and treat these women the way I got to treat them, or to treat these young girls the way I got to treat them in order to get what I want. Because like Snoop said, we don't love them hoes, right? So this is the psychology growing up in America in the 1990s. Take it to education. Being a brother that was always praise be to Allah, as it was y'all, was always an analytical thinker, was always a free thinker, always a pretty good writer, a decent orator. I had my strengths in education, but I also had my weaknesses, and my weaknesses had to be math. My weaknesses had to be the fundamentals and the rules of math. I've never been one that's good at following rules. I've never been one that's good at following formulas. And the reason why I excelled, I think, of course, because of the Creator, all praises due to Him. But one of the reasons why I excelled in writing and history is because history was what it was. And if it wasn't what it was, I got to explain why it was different with my words. And as far as writing in English, it was just expression of the soul. So it was never hard for me to write. And like I said, all praise is due to the Creator. But growing up in an environment where if you're an exceptional student or you have off the beating path understanding of events and the way things go, and the teacher picks up on that and they see that you have a gift, in the environment that I come from, that's not good, because now people are going to joke on you for reading. They're going to joke on you for trying to be intelligent, because once again, come from a system that rewards ignorance, that rewards Dr. Do Nothing, that rewards downtrottenism, because that's all the constituents of the system have ever known is disappointment and heartbreak and sorrow. So they're expecting everyone to be the same, and if you're different in any way and you're trying to be exceptional, then a sense of jealousy can kick in, a sense of envy can kick in, and a sense of change can kick in. And human beings, on average, don't like change. So learn that fast too. Don't be an exceptional student. Don't go out of your way. Don't let people know that you read or anything like that, because the moment you do, you might be fighting for your life, because you might be soft for reading those books. All of these are things that come into effect when it comes to the molding of how we got here. I mean, these episodes can go on for days, man. They really can. They can go on for days. Like, because the story is very deep, it's very long. Yeah, I'm sure it's parts of the story y'all probably looking at me and saying, yo, you're a fucking idiot. And rightfully so. But it's my story and it's true. So through high school, the first years of high school, or the first year of high school, I'm playing the game. I'm dressing like people want me to dress. I'm talking like people want me to talk. I'm doing the things that people want me to do. Peace, Brother Malik. Assalamu alaikum. And I'm getting results. You know, I'm wearing Jordans, I'm wearing Tommy Hilfigers, I'm wearing Polo, I'm wearing all of the name brands that are acceptable. And my soul ain't feeling right, but I'm getting the admiration and I'm getting the acceptance. I'm not going to say that I desire, because I didn't really desire it, but the acceptance that would get me left the hell alone, because I just ain't want to be messed with no more. I don't want to be in the crowd that was easy prey. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be in the crowd that was easily taken advantage of. So my whole goal was to get in a position to be left alone. And if wearing Tommy Hilfiger, cutting my hair low, and wearing Jordans was going to do that, then I was going to do that. Man, I remember when I first started off in 9th grade, I was sitting at the table with my homies. Sitting at the table with the people that really I used to rock with in middle school, but I saw in high school they were socially unacceptable. So one day, I'm wearing my Jordans, I'm wearing my khaki pants, I'm wearing my blue Tommy Hilfiger collar shirt, and the seniors pulled me over to the senior table. What's going on, Brother Bookie? The seniors pulled me over to the senior table, and they're like, yo, come sit over here, bro. You know, you sit with us. And it's because my sister went ahead of me. And she was in the 12th grade, and she already had a little social status. And I was considered light-skinned with good hair, so older be laminate shit done our gene. It's not good hair, it's rapist hair. And so they're like, yo, come sit down. You know what I'm saying? You chill here. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm no longer sitting with my friends at the quote-unquote lesser table or borderline lame table, and now I'm in the ends with the seniors. and that shit lasted for all of 3 months. Because if it ain't in you, it ain't in you. And I got to the point I was like, man, I don't want to wear Tommy Hilfiger every day. I don't want to wear polo every day. I don't want to dress up every day. I don't want to wear Jordans every day. I want to wear white tee sometimes. And more importantly, before anyone else, I said I want to grow my hair out. I was the first cat to grow my hair out. First cat walking around with twists and braids in my high school. Because fades was in back then. Waves was in back then. Wasn't nobody trying to show you that they had naps. So I started wearing my clothes kind of back to what I was wearing in middle school, but a little bit more thuggish. It was white tees then. Everybody else was wearing uniform. I was coming to school with white tees on and afros. And, the cat I used to rock with, K.A. Kenny Allen, he used to wear like the chains like DMX. And, one summer I came back home with some dog chains from New York. And we all started rocking that. So they changed the imagery a little bit. But my social status had already been secured because of what I did earlier in ninth grade, which was be a coward and betray my friends just to fit in. And so even though I had switched it back over and started rocking a fro and twist and all that, my social status was already intact. So now people are looking at it like, yo, he's setting trends. And that's why I used to tell everybody in my group, the key to success in the industry or in business or in entertainment is not to be the one that follows the wave. It's to be the one that makes people follow your wave that you create. Because your wave is yours. And you're always going to make more money if someone has to come to something that's originally yours that they cannot copy. So, nothing much, Brother Bookie. So people start growing their hair out, wearing white tees. I survived one more semester at that school. By the beginning of the 10th grade, I'm out of there. Fast forward or move forward to the summer of my 10th grade year and everything changes. I started getting closer with my brother-in-law. He was from New York. And I started to reconnect with the New York roots. And now I'm not going to New York alone anymore. I'm going with my brother-in-law. And I remember the first wake-up call that I got. This was my first real unplugging from the Matrix. I was walking around in a mall. I want to say it was either in Maryland or Jersey. And I had on 2 Jordans. But in the South at that time, the whole thing was to wear different color Jordans, sometimes different style of Jordans. And I'm walking around that mall and I'm getting a few looks, you know what I'm saying? And I'm feeling like I'm doing something, and I get back home and my brother-in-law gets out the car and he says, a Muslim never wants to do anything to cause attention to himself. A Muslim never wants to do anything to be over extravagant. Take that Bama shit off. Reese, it's my brother, man. I remember sitting back and thinking, I look like a donkey, yo. And I never did it again. But that whole summer in New York was an education to everything I had forgotten. I was going from growing up, the little hip hop I did listen to, because I ain't listened to a lot of hip hop, honestly. But growing up, the little hip hop I did listen to was Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang Forever, Nas, I Am, Outkast, Aquemini. That was probably it growing up. But that summer, that particular summer that I went to New York, because I had been back to New York, but that summer that I went with Reese was a whole education for me. And he said, hip hop is about the lyrics. It's about the message and the way that the artist or the MC crafts the lyrics. If that ain't right, don't ever let the beat fool you. because you might be dealing with an exceptional producer, exceptional production. But E equals MC squared. And without the MC, you don't have anything. So that summer before I went up there, or that spring before I went up there, I was listening to Pastor Troy. I was listening to No Limit. I was listening to a lot of artists that were lyrically challenged. But it's what they were listening to in my region, so I ain't see nothing wrong with it. But my life was out of order listening to that music. My life wasn't aligned listening to that music. So once I got to New York and they put me on the Nas Illmatic, even though I listened to I Am growing up, I didn't know there was an Illmatic. They put me on Nas Illmatic, and I remember riding through the Midtown Tunnel in Queens. And I remember hearing the bass line for NY State of Mind. New York, New York, New York, New York. Rappers a monkey flipping with the funky rhythm I be kicking. Musician and flipping composition. When I heard that, and I was like, this brother is intelligently rhyming every syllable in a multi-syllable compact flow. On beat, on rhythm. Because the thing that kind of took me away from that style of music was listening to Wu-Tang, because it seemed like a lot of artists on Wu-Tang, most of the artists on Wu-Tang, struggled to stay on the beat. Even though their lyrics were super dope, they would struggle to stay on the beat. You know what I'm saying? And I remember that story you told me, Malik. Heaven was a mile away. You know what I'm saying? I remember that story. But yeah, like, Wu-Tang would always struggle to stay on the beat. Not Method Man and not GZA, but the rest of them would struggle to stay on the beat. So it got to the point I didn't want to hear Wu-Tang no more. And the thing that really hooks you to the South is that a lot of Southern artists, they flow so they stay on the beat. So I was like, I don't want to hear New York rap anymore when niggas can't stay on the beat and they overhyper. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear that. But the first time I heard Illmatic, and right after they played Illmatic, we was on our way to the LIE, Long Island Expressway. They played Live at the Barbecue. Live at the Barbecue, Nas and Akinelli. After that, they played Black Moon, Smith & Wesson. You know what I'm saying? How many MCs must get dissed? How many MCs must get dissed? How many MCs must get dissed? Like, they was playing all of that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, the first time I heard buck 'em down, 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 buck 'em down. First time I heard that, mind blown. Because I'm coming from the summer of, are we ready? Are we ready? Are we? My nigga, fuck what you say. Ain't no more playing GA. It was crunk. It was live. And now that I go back and listen to it, Troy was really saying a lot of deep ass shit that he got from the Freemasons on there. Troy is very underrated content-wise. But lyrically, he's always struggled. So when I'm hearing dope beats and dope lyrics and a vibe in New York, I'm like, because I remember Black Moon, Buckshot Shorty, Smith & Wesson, Buckshot Shorty, the 5 foot assassin, 5 foot MC. I remember that video, and it stood out to me when I was younger in New York because they went down south to Jacksonville to shoot one of their first videos. And it always stood out to me. I was like, what makes these brothers show love to the South like that? In a time where ain't nobody showing love to the South. So they always stuck out to me, but I never got into their music because, goddamn, Into the Stage, Els, you know what I'm saying, bro? Bruh, load the clip, bust lead to the head, the nappy head, dread, buckshot, and raw head. Load the clip, bust lead to the head, the nappy head, dread, buckshot, and raw head. Like, bro, like, come on, bro. Now I'm coming out of at the time I'm rediscovering New York. But I'm coming out of, my nigga, fuck what you say. Left, right, left. Get on up, like shit like that. So once I hear this, my mind is blown, bro. And I'm like, yo, like I'm understanding. Man, I need y'all to vibe with me for a second, bro. I came into hip hop in a time where the culture was ready to explode. But I caught it on the end of the explosion because really the cultural explosion came between 1991 or 1990 and it died around 98, 99 completely. But the last remnants of that cultural explosion of natural, organic hip hop was Mos Def and Talib Kweli. When you heard this right here, Lord have mercy, high tech cause he fly, yo. Follow me now. Say high tech if you rollin' hip hop. Say there go if you rollin' hip hop. Redefinition got me rollin' hip hop. Say Black Stars ain't no lock it down. From the first to the last of it. Delivery is passionate. The whole and not the half of it. Vocab and not the math of it. We blasting it. Accurate assassin shit. Me and Talib quotes like Bethlehem and Nazareth. After this, they be pressing rewind on top of your master this. That was the last time the real hip hop charted. That was the last time where organic, this is what it sounds like in Best-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. Best-Stuy, do or die, Best-Stuy. That was the last time that kind of organic hip hop charted. And I heard that song that summer in New York. Ironically, the creator was hipping me to a lot because the same summer the movie The Matrix came out. And it was like a fight for the last piece of organic humanity was taking place. Pete, this is pre 9/11. This is 2 years before 9/11, really a year and a half before 9/11. It was a fight for the soul of the people because the 90s was the last remnants of free thinking people. Okay, you're gonna beat a brother on the LA Expressway? You're gonna have it on camera? You're gonna let these officers off? Fuck all that peace shit, fuck all that forgiveness. We gonna beat your ass. And they rioted in LA. But what they don't tell people is, and I remember this, not only did they riot in LA, they rioted in Atlanta, they rioted in Detroit, they rioted all across America. And it wasn't just tearing up their own communities, they were tearing up a lot of shit, and they also were fighting back against the police. So don't let people rewrite history. It was the last time, that's the last era of the free thinkers, the Million Man March, Steve Coakley, Khalid Muhammad, and the March in New York where they fought against the police. You know, it was just a different time period. And my mind is waking up to all of this. My mind is waking up to the fact that somebody wants me to remain ignorant. Somebody wants us in the streets to act a certain way. Somebody wants us to be comfortable in our sorrow and to make our sorrow the standard. Mind blown. Next thing you know, I'm in Central Park, me. I used to lie and tell people I was 17, but I'm 13, 14 years old, me. In Central Park, debating with Nubian Moors, debating with Hebrew Israelites, debating with Christians, debating with atheists. It was like a smorgasbord of blackness, man. You know that shit George Clinton used to talk about, Malik? Taking that black spaceship out the mothership and just crew. That's what it felt like. It was just dopeness. You know, I got my education that summer. That was my first education. Came back, I wasn't satisfied. Lied, told my parents I was going to a basketball camp. Jumped on a Greyhound bus, went to Atlanta, Centennial Park, right down the street from the Village. Anybody that remembers old school Atlanta, remember Georgia State didn't used to have no dorm rooms. They had some apartments by Centennial called the Village. And everybody who was everybody used to go to the Village. And then after the Village, everybody would go to Centennial Park, and it'll be the same vibe that was in Central Park with Nuwabian Moors and Hebrew Israelites and everybody debating. Back then, we used to call it building. Back then, we used to call it building, you know. It was heavy. It was a heavy moment in time. But that moment in time prepared me for the rest of my life. And it was my unplugging. When I got back to school, I was the starting point guard in 10th grade. So I had a bit of influence. And I feel like because I came back so changed, I might have messed a few brothers up because when I came back, when I left, I was talking a certain way. When I came back, I was talking differently. When I left, I was dressing a certain way. When I came back, I was dressing differently. And the things that we were into before I left, I wasn't into when I came back. So when I came back, everybody was like, yo, why you acting so different? Like, you know, why you don't want to do this? You don't want to do that? And I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. And I can't unlearn what I learned. You know, when you hear a song, realizing the realness of life and actuality, fuck who's the baddest, a person's status depends on salary. We was beginners in the hood of 5%ers, but something must have got in us because we all turned to sinners. Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why I get high, because you never know when you're gonna go. Life's a bitch and when you die, and then you die. That's why I get high, because you never know when you're gonna go. You know, like this kind of music, even though it has a level of ignorance and evil in it, it feeds your soul and turns you to thinking. That's why the music that's out right now is so detrimental, because it doesn't feed your soul or feed your mind. It feeds your carnal nature and your desires. And they tell you to go get on Xans and pills, and they tell you that success is material. And the only thing that can make you feel whole is material success and people idolizing you through Instagram. And once you reach these statuses, you realize how fruitless that fig tree is. So it makes you more depressed, and it makes you more dependent on the fame, that you lose yourself in the process. And by losing yourself, it allows you to numb yourself more to drugs. It was heavy, man. It was heavy. I was just thinking on another, as they would say, I was thinking on another frequency. I remember getting back in 10th grade. Yeah. Hold on. What year was that? 11th grade year. I'm totally turned out 11th grade year. I'm rocking with a bunch of older people. Talking to this older chick, hanging with a bunch of older Nuwabian Moors and Hebrew Israelites and people that had left Al-Islam, and they trying to convince me to leave Al-Islam. And praise be to Allah Azza wa Jalla, I never went for it. But it sharpened me, and it prepared me for the arguments that are new to some of y'all, they're old to me. I have been hearing this stuff since 14. So when y'all come out with the next Power Ranger Negro, oh, this is Captain Serendudu. I'm like, bro, that's 17, 18 years ago, bro. That's 10 years ago, man. Go that way. So, yeah, man, like 11th grade, I'm a monster. Because now I got the street knowledge, but I'm also starting to get back to what the Creator intended me to be, inshallah ta'ala. And I'm starting to get back to my deen, and I'm starting to sharpen my brain. And I understand that someone wants me to be in this condition. So 11th grade, everyone in class is joking and laughing. And for the first time in my life ever, First time in my life ever, I'm reading a book in the middle of class. Now that might sound like a small thing to y'all, but like I said, I come from the high schools and I come from the schools where if you did that, you were setting yourself up for somebody knocking that book out of your hand. You were setting yourself up to get Jones for the rest of the class. You were setting yourself up for an automatic fight. But I had gotten to the point I'm so unplugged from what's going on in the system, the conditioning that is school. Now I gotta feed that hole that has been opened up, that hunger that had been opened up through the older brothers that gave a damn enough to reach back and enlighten a young ignorant nigga that didn't know shit. Because when you get it from your parents is one thing. When you get it from your parents, it's good. But once you get it from your parents and you see it from the streets, but you just see it from a person with knowledge of self, then it just confirms what you got from your parents. So it just strengthens your faith. It just strengthens your desire to go towards the right path. See, the Creator knew exactly what I needed at that moment in time of my life so that I wouldn't end up like some of the brothers that I told y'all had already fallen. And I don't say that like I'm better than them or nothing. Without the will of the Creator, I wouldn't be here. So I'm reading Catch of the Ride in the middle of class. And I'll never forget the line that the dude kept saying in the book, if a body is a body, then come on through the ride. It was something like that. But that book has always enamored me because it was about an outsider that would try to fit in, but no matter what he would do, he could never quite fit in. He could just never quite fit in. And he reminded me a lot of myself. He reminded me a lot of my companions and brothers and sisters that I had respect for that just wouldn't fold and become what other people wanted them to become. So, but yeah, that book is near and dear to my heart. A couple months later, 9/11 happens. A couple of months later, 9/11 happens. And that's what we'll pick up next time on Personals. You won't say it, but I will podcast. It's going to get a lot more interesting.